Hello people, today I have with us the Motoroid, and that is from the Good Smile Company, Strelitzia, and this is from Darling in the Franxx. I personally have not seen Darling in the Franxx, so if I say something that might sound a little bit funny to you about the show or about the unit, you feel free to correct me because you all will be more expert about this than I am. I'm having trouble balancing her. Let's see what's going on. I have not seen the anime, so I'm not 100% sure on any of this. There's no write-ups in this manual or anything like that either. I just know it's a really cool robot, very feminine looking. I really adore it, and I needed to build it. I'm going to switch out that weapon because it is awful to pose with in this cramped space. So we're going to do that right now. All right, so let's go ahead and move on with the model kit. So the Strelitzia was a astoundingly interesting build. I enjoyed the heck out of building it, but that said, I do not want to build another one. If you handed this to me and said, hey, I'll give you $5 to build it, I'm not going to do it. You give me $100, I probably still won't do it. It was very unique, we'll just say that. It reminds me of old school models, but without the flair. They just kind of said, hey, we need to make a girl model kit. We need to make a model kit of a robot that needs to be posable. Who can work on it? And then they just gave it to the old fart who used to make cars. It's like one of those things. It's not bad by any means. It's just very hectic. And by that I mean what I mean by hectic is all these little parts are that cheesy American plastic that nobody really likes using, and they're just put together in the simplest way. You got 2 pieces, you just smash them together. You need 3 pieces, smash them together with that part in between. You want another color, just slap it on inside or over the top of it. It's not bad, and I'm not going to say that this is ugly by any means, because the part color separation is actually fantastic on this. According to the art on the cover here, that looks the same. There's not a lot of difference to that. There are pre-painted parts on this, as shown by one of the extras that I have. That is all pre-painted on there, which is really cool, I'm not going to lie. And there are some stickers, but I don't think you need them. Most of them, I think they just add that little bit that needs to be touched up. The shield here needs these feathers here, but otherwise it doesn't look bad. I mean, you can paint any of the small other details like the black that goes inside these. It's small potatoes, honestly. The color separation is great, so we're not arguing about that. The problem I have with it is that it's just the cheapest possible way of putting things together. You don't need to have any sort of engineering mind. It's just, if you need a joint, put it between 2 pieces and smush them together. You see that right there, that big seam line? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about right there. These parts, they're 2 pieces, you just snap them together, throw that on the top. Now you can't see the seam line. Isn't that great? It's not bad. It's not. It looks nice. It just doesn't look fantastic. And it is that cheap plastic, so if you stress them in any way, you're going to break the pins inside them. So you have to be really careful with this model kit. That said, we should move on to the articulation. And you're going to laugh at me because I'm going to be very delicate with this. Give me a sec. Okay, articulation-wise, this head here is on a ball joint. Way up inside this head here. Let's see if I can show that on camera. Way up inside that neck. It's about 10 miles long. It's almost in the top of her head. But that does allow you quite a bit of movement for how complicated this setup is. Now, these things are cemented in place, as are all of these 4 here. These ones here are on little tiny pins. So they smash between this hat and the head. I believe that's where they smash between. But they can move back and forth. So you get that point of articulation there. On the arms, these are stuck in place here but you have a ball joint right here at the shoulder, and it's a very awkward place to have a bend, but that's how this one goes. I'm not sure if that's how it goes in the anime, but if it is, that's odd. Thanks for that look, guys. So ball joint in here, there is a ball joint that connects this yellow part to that shoulder, and that allows you to move it freely from the other part of the arm. These guys are on a peg that you can rotate, but it doesn't do very much. I would just leave that steady. Inside here, you have the two pieces put together that allow you to move that out and then back in. Like I said, I'm going to try to be real delicate with this because I don't want it to break. It's not stressing it or anything, I just don't want to put too much pressure on that. Again, it's not a lot of motion in there. If you want to move this out, you can move it a little bit further and then back out. It does rotate on that peg right there, but try not to do that too much. You can hear it snipping and snapping. There is a complex set of joints inside here. This one's tied to this one. Like I said, sandwiches together everywhere. This one can move on its own accord here, but it mostly moves with the other one. Let's see, like this here. Okay, that helps actually show off that joint, like so. Of course, that armor is going to be in the way. That's this armor here, all the way up, and then this one can move down and up as well. As you see here, it's a ball joint, and that ball joint plugs into that hole right there, and you can see just two pieces together, smushed together. That's all they do on this one. It's just a lot of that. On this section, which is an interesting one, they give you a peg to go into another polycap, like so, and then that peg moves inside the polycap a bit, and you can move that hand up and down like this. It does easily pop out of that peg hole. That polycap is not that tight, but that's the articulation on this section. This one here, it has a polycap ball that you can move it on. It's not very secure. I would recommend putting a dab of super glue on that to hold it in place. It does plug into, you see that little line right there, right inside this, it clips right in. And that, let's see, it's supposed to clip in. I've done it twice now. There we go, just like that. And this one, it's not the most secure. I'm considering putting some cement in that one too. That's supposed to be this way here. And then, of course, even if that's cemented on, you could just pop it off the ball like that. Easy as that, but, you know, it's one of those things. So I'm considering cementing that one on. I think you might too. Before I put the rest of that arm back together, let's show you the setup over here. So these ones clip into the side of the legs, which is interesting, on a ball joint. So easy as heck to move up and down, pose where you want. Of course, there's that ball joint too. These ones were able to move, but they are cemented in place. It does recommend you do that. Let's turn her around. I can show you this peg here. Now this peg is very important. Because of the way her legs are, she really can't bear her own weight, so they gave you a setup to kind of pose her with, and that helps you tripod her into position. So you can pose her that way. You can remove this part. It is a 3mm peg inside there, and attach it to anything that also has 3mm pegs. So that does help actually a lot with the posing, and you'll probably need it if you're going to have her on display. Moving back to her thighs, they're a pretty substantial ball joint inside here. It's not really a ball joint. It's the two pegs put together like the giant wrist pin on a Mecha Musume model. And you can rotate that inside her body, but not very much. And then it is pretty stiff in there, so be careful with that. This one does rotate on that axis as well. And with her leg in place, you can see there's not a lot to that. Of course, that comes off. And remember when I said joining together is just usually two pieces put together. That is exactly how they do this one. Put the polycaps in there, put this piece in between, put this piece in between, and we are rocking the world. That said, it's not, like I said, not terrible. It's just not great. So it's something that you will see, I will say a lot on this one. These joints are also those same two-piece wrist pin connectors that we use on a lot of Mecha musume. They're not the best on this one. It actually really badly separates these two parts. I would recommend cement to keep those together. You have a ball joint on the bottom here. Okay, that's wrong. You have a peg that holds that together just like so, and then a small point of articulation at the foot. That's supposed to hold her weight. It doesn't. All right, you lot, I am back with her. You don't know this, but 10 minutes have passed between this cut and the last cut. Everything went to crap when I was taking her to put that wrist pin back on, and this came off, that came off. It was a disaster, and you guys don't even know. So her shield is not on, and her big giant spear, I think it is still not on. I should put that here so we can get in the size comparison section. I'm not going to do that. We're going to leave that as is. So let's repose her. Let's move her over here. Just for the record, guys, I don't hate this model kit. I don't. I really don't. It's what it is what it is. So the Strelitzia has a very interesting style to her. She's very large also. I don't know what scale it is. It doesn't say a scale on here. In fact, it's probably non-scale. But here she is standing next to my high-grade 1144 scale GBN-based Gundam. And as you can see, there is a lot of design differences in terms of mechanics, in terms of styles of artistic expression, a lot of differences. So obviously this one is a female model kit, where this one is a very masculine-looking, bulky guy. It's really cool. It's one of those things. So stylistically, I think major differences in opinions here. So I like this one. I like the way it looks, but I love this one. Just saying. Funny, I don't usually voice my opinion when I'm trying to show a size comparison, but here is the Alto from 30 Minute Missions, and that is also in 1144 scale. But as he stands, he's only up to her hip. In terms of height, she also has it on the Jinrai from the Frame Arm series, and this one is in 1100 scale. But pretty cool how big she is, how bulky she is too. So I'll say it again, if the meaning of Mecha musume includes the Strelitzia, I do believe it does. She is quite a tall Mecha musume model kit. Here she is standing next to Architect in roughly 112 scale. So if they were both humanoid forms, then she would be also, I think I want to say maybe 110 scale. Our very little man by the name of Nero, standing at 124 scale from the Hexagear Governor series. And I was very excited to see that she is taller, in fact, than the Gundam Alex, the Alex Gundam in Master Grade, which is 1/100 scale. She's just inching out the little guy here with her headpiece there, and then that horn obviously does it. But she's an incredibly tall model kit, so that is pretty cool. I did not realize how big it was going to be. Very, very cool model kit. Now, I don't want to spend all day talking about this model kit that I don't know a lot about. You guys will have to fill me in on Darling in the Franxx and why I should watch it, if I should watch it. Hopefully somebody tells me a good thing about it, because I do want to watch it and I need an excuse. This weapon of hers, I didn't talk about it because it was just an annoyance the whole time. This thing is probably as heavy as she is, and that's a little ridiculous. Now, I don't know why they did it that way. Maybe it's actually supposed to be heavy like that, but these are solid pieces of rings that are just sheer volume of plastic is insane. This part here is very heavy. This part here also very heavy. And she's just hollow bits. So it probably weighs the same as she does, and that's insane to me. The fact that they thought that she can hold it with just those weak poly caps that they have, it's insane. Because look at how the size of that thing is massive compared to her. It's just, I don't know what they were thinking. They should have made it hollower or made her joints a little bit stronger, something like that. That said, I love that weapon. It's so crazy, so over the top. I don't know why she holds it so close to the front, but c'est la vie, that's how it goes in this one. That cool wire that they have here is made of copper, so it's very bendable. It plugs into the top of this thing. I don't know why. I haven't seen the show, so I don't know. I think her hand actually plugs into this section here. If that's the case, let me try that. Let's see. Yes, it does. So I can actually have her standing pose like so. And that actually helps me pose her anyway. That's cool. So I like that look. Let's move her into the spotlight, shall we? There we go. And as you see, it's very heavy, but very cool. That thing is in the way. But they do give you this piece here, which has her hand built into it. And that's how I had it to begin with. That one plugs into where that is, and it goes into her hand, obviously. The other thing it did come with is this one here, and that is that clear piece, or that pre-painted piece here for her face. But we do have stickers for the one that's already in existence. If I wanted to use those eyes, sleeping eyes, whatever, they do have those there. This kit was over $60. I believe it was $65. It might have been $69, but I'm pretty sure it was $65. I think it was worth the while. I don't regret buying it. I do regret how little plastic there is to it, how little bulk. I think if you clear all the seam lines with some cement and paint this thing, it's going to go a lot better than what I did, which is just a straight build out of the box, no stickers, no nothing. I think paint with that extra weight is going to go a long way. So I think, like I said, cement and a paint job is going to just really add to this one. I happen to really like the way this one looks. It's a unique kit in my collection. I definitely recommend it if you aren't afraid of a challenge, because honestly, this thing is a pain in the butt. Putting it together was a pain. Keeping it together is even bigger pain. You don't know how many times I've had to stop and put something back on, and even though she's just standing here posing them between each of the size comparisons, I'm like, I don't want to touch her, because if I do, this is going to come off, that's going to come off. It's not going to be pleasant. Thankfully, she stayed together most of that time, but during the beginning, oh man, I was really nervous. So if you're coming from Gundam and the Gundams are the only thing you've built, or 30-minute missions are the only thing you built, I would not recommend this one to you. No, sir. Build a Megami device, build a Kotobukiya kit, build a frame arms kit, something like that. Whet your appetite on something that's a little bit harder or out of the norm to put together. That said, those ones, they aren't actually that hard, but that's a next step. This one's probably a level 4 if a Gundam is a level 1. And I'm not saying in terms of, high grade, master grade, whatever. Gundam in general is all level 1. It doesn't take a lot of skill to get a really good looking kit. Not saying anyone who has built a Gundam is a beginner. I'm just saying if that's all you've built, this is going to stress you out to hell, because it's iffy. That said, I have built many iffy kits before, and I'm not diminishing this one in any way. It's designed by people who obviously didn't build robots before. It is something that, it's a unique kit in terms of the modern era. I don't think they produce kits like this anymore. I think that honestly, it's a challenge, and that is a beautiful thing. Sometimes we need a challenge. I love this kit. It's beautiful. It's fantastic. I also hate it. So with all that said, I think that does earn my recommendation. Again, if you are up for a challenge. If all you have built is Gundam, though, do not go into this thinking, oh, it's just a Gundam kit. It is not. It is not even an 80s Gundam kit. It is different. So I highly recommend you trying something else before you do this one. Build a car kit, build a, like I said, maybe a frame arms kit. That's a level 2. What would be a level 3? Something like a Hasagawa kit, one of their robots. That would probably be a level 3. And even then, that's pretty easy. I don't know. I don't know what a level 3 would be. But this is a little beyond a level 3. I would not call this a level 3. It's a little bit harder than that. Any case, though, I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to ramble on about this one for days. So I will see you guys next time, or you will see me. But more than likely, you'll see my stuff. Bye-bye.